Welcome to the Mundus Fractura Lore Guide. This week on Lore Guide, we will take a look at the sentient weapon known as the Toad Bow. Known to his friends as Toady, this peculiar talking bow, unlike many intelligent weapons on Mundus Fractura, wasn't always so. Long ago, on a distant planet, in a forgotten realm, a young goblin warrior named Toadwort lived the life typical of his kind. Alongside his warband, he roamed the fields and forests, hunting, seeking treasure, and defending their lands. One fateful day, the warband crossed paths with a mixed group of human and elven adventurers. You've likely heard ins and outs of this type of tale before, so let's skip the predictable details and cut to the heart of it. Through a remarkable display of quick thinking, groveling, and a long unpaid stint of servitude, Toadwort managed to preserve his life, and was the only member of his band to do so. The party responsible for the slaughter of Toad's warband ultimately came to adopt the young goblin warrior. In a time and place where goblins were little more than hunted vermin, Toadwort found himself thriving with his unlikely new allies, a warband of a very different kind. The years passed, and the young goblin grew to become a competent and capable warrior, ranged weapon master, and even dabbled in the arcane arts. Though Toady was not widely accepted by the general humanoid community, he was loved and respected by his party, peers, and much feared by his enemies. But as is so often the case with adventuring parties, life took an unexpected twist for the goblin. Though the exact chain of events leading up to his transformation isn't fully clear, Toady has been kind enough to relate to me what little he does remember. There are vague recollections of an encounter with what was thought to have been a long-dead deity, a baneful figure with murderous intent to the world, which Toad called his home. Though the memory of the battle is near lost, he recalls that years later he managed to reconstruct the events, that a Pyrrhic victory seemed to have been won that day, a triumph that left a port city in ruins, his party dead, and his life forever changed. Toad remembers waking in the forgotten ruins of the battle, from the touch of an elven woman by the name of Phaedra. He recalls being picked up by the throat and being inspected like a ship in a bottle. It was in short order that he realized that somehow in the fray, his life force had been transferred into his magical short bow. Over time, it became clear that he had been sleeping, buried in the rubble from the battle for what was nearly a century. From that point forward, Phaedra and Toady would be an inseparable pair for centuries, with many tales to be told, which we may get to another time. But for now, the only story that matters is how he came to be on Mundus. In their final adventure, it seems that the pair, along with their companions, did battle with a consortium of power-mad wizards. This wizard consortium had set into motion a plan to twist and control reality by harvesting the energy of the sentient races of Toady's world. The ultimate outcome of this battle is unknown to Toady, but he recalls a rift forming during the battle which began to consume all matter. Toady recalls a blinding blast of arcane energy which severed Phaedra's arm, a dizzying flurry of motion, and then nothing. As with his initial transformation, the Toad woke with a woman's hand clenched around his neck, but this time it was not his old friend. Instead, a young human woman by the name of Crystal Newstead. It is unclear how long Toady sat in the cavern in which he was found, deep below the city of Residuum. As with Phaedra before, Newstead and Toad became fast friends. Over the years, the two have attempted to discover a path home for the goblin, or at the very least some closure regarding the fate of his world, and though they have managed to find other relics from his realm across the lands of Mundus, they have not found any resolution regarding the fate of Phaedra or his home. As followers of our game sessions will know, today in 10 and 76 of the Common Time, Toady and Newstead govern the settlement of Deep Port in the new Western Alliance of the Western Vale. I would like to apologize to Toad for the objectifications that will follow in the next section. Unfortunately, I cannot think of a more tactful way to proceed. So, here we go. Regarding what are sometimes known as the crunchy bits. Functionally as a magical weapon, Toady is considered to be immensely powerful. By all measure, he is an ultra-rare, near-artifact-level item, whose legend is now known across the surface and infras of Mundus. Though the exact mechanics of his creation are little understood, it is known he is the amalgam of a pre-existing +3 short bow with the mind, soul, and abilities of a once biologically living goblin archer, all somehow forged into one by the death throes of an evil, baneful god. On casual inspection, while sheathed or at rest, Toad appears to be a plain, unstrung short or hunter's bow. Green in color, and though well made, he is clearly aged and well worn from time and use. Quick appraisals would definitely yield opinions that the weapon should be retired or relegated to display as a museum piece. However, when wielded with permission, his true glory is revealed, coming to life, cracking with wisping green energy and arrows that magically manifest from the ether at the draw of his string. Though attunement is required to unleash the possible potential of the weapon, due to the fact that Toady is truly a living entity, attunement is ultimately irrelevant. If Toady doesn't like you, the weapon will not function. However, if you are a known friend, or should Toad deem you worthy, the powers he possesses are yours to wield. The following are Toad's current known abilities. Toad, though inanimate and immobile, he still retains an excellent sense of smell, hearing, sight, can speak, and is magically understood by all who hear him. He can, presumably via magical means, understand most, but not all, languages. On a personal level, he is friendly, caring, and is very, very talkative. Of Toady's many abilities, possibly the most underrated is his sentience and loyalty. Though not particularly intelligent, he has several lifetimes of acquired experiences. He doesn't often give advice, but he does tell stories of his many adventures. Newstead, his current companion, has noted that frequently Toad will be reminded of past adventures and tells these stories in the moment as real-time events unfold. Though not his intent, on several occasions, Newstead related that these stories have led to life-saving solutions to seemingly fatal encounters. As to basic magical augmentations that he conveys, Toad imparts a +3 bonus to both the wielder's dexterity and defense skills. Toady is self-repairing and seemingly indestructible, requiring only sleep to heal any damage. On a related note, though Toad doesn't require sleep, he is fond of dreaming and will occasionally take naps as a form of recreation. And it would seem from past occurrences that he can enter an extended hibernation-like state. Toad's base-level projectiles deal 2d6 +3 damage and further incorporates the user's skirmish skill to the damage. Though this damage is dealt via Toady's preferred or default damage type of magical force. The damage can be freely shifted by either Toady or his wielder to any known damage type before a projectile is loosed. So, for example, if fighting a troll, and if Toady knows that fire damage works well on such a foe, he might automatically deal fire damage. A wielder can also simply think of the damage type they would like to deal, and Toady will oblige. In his mortal life as a goblin, Toad did dabble in the arcane arts and was what some would call an arcane archer. These skills are still available to the goblin. Toad is able to imbue his projectiles with several magical enhancements. Strangely, Toady seems to be a self-contained, stable magic zone, and the use of these magical spell-like enhancements are not subject to casting checks, mishaps, or corruptions. The reasons for this are hotly debated by scholars, but are presumably due to Toad's extraplanar nature. Lastly, in times of dire need, Toady is able to break himself in order to restore his wielder to consciousness, or 1 hit point. This places him into a state of torpor for 1 full day while he is repairing himself. There are lifetimes of tales to be told about Toad, but unfortunately, that is all for this time. I hope you have enjoyed this episode. Stay tuned for future lore guides, and thank you for listening. Goodbye for now.